All right, Shalom. Kolo Yahweh Bashem Yahushai Bashem Rechah Kodash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do teach real well and tell us this 100% truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the house of David, the hopeful elect. This is just going to be a quick land back. All right, our elders have done, some beautiful videos already in regards to one body. All right, and basically they said that, Moses didn't part the Red Sea. So scripturally, Brother Shaw already have some precepts, but what I wanted to do was add some historical evidence, into it. Because ultimately we believe, all right, these things by faith, first and foremost, all right, but even the wicked, all right, which we know to be Esau, Edom, even the deceiver, even the deceiver believes as well, and not believes, in it, but ultimately their science, their way of, going into, archaeology and all that, even by their sciences, they actually confirm and affirm, the story itself, man. So I just wanted to include that in this lesson. Lord's will be edified. We'll start with First Maccabees 4:9. Remember how our fathers were delivered in the Red Sea when Pharaoh pursued them with an army. Now, therefore, let us cry unto heaven if peradventure the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai will have mercy upon us, and remember the covenant of our fathers, and destroy this host before our face this day, that so all the heathen may know that there is one who delivereth and saveth Israel, or Yasharallah. All right, and one of the most important things when you understand history, all right, you understand the collections of stories. All right, so if you had a particular great event that occurred all the way back in Exodus, then of course that collection or that story, those records would be kept for generations and generations. All right, and we see an example of that here in First Maccabees. All right, this was centuries and centuries, and we're talking years later, man. All right, and that the profoundness of the salvation, that redemption, being led out, all right, of Egypt was still known, was still of renown, if you will. All right, so we're just gonna get the points. All right, so I'll start here. Wyatt Archaeology. All right, it's an Edomite by the name of Ron Wyatt. All right, and basically back in the 90s, he was going into, even before the 90s, but when this was published, all right, he was going into the chariot wheels in the Red Sea. All right, and this is, you can research it yourself, but basically, to get the point, we will begin with the chariot wheels that Ron and the boys found in the Gulf of Aqaba in 1978. On their first dive at the site, they found these chariot remains. Like Noah's Ark, these were not in perfect condition and required careful examination to see exactly what they were. They were covered in coral, which made it difficult to see them clearly, but it appears the coral was the agent the Lord used to preserve them. They found numerous reels. Some were still on their axles and some were off. They found chariot cabs without the wheels, and they reference Exodus. All right. So far, this coincided with the biblical account. They found several 6-spoked wheels as well as 8-spoked wheels. And finally, in 1988, Ron found the 4-spoked gold chariot wheel, which looks almost perfect. The reason this was so well preserved is that coral does not grow on gold. The wood inside the gold veneer was deteriorated, which made it very fragile. And for that reason, he has not attempted to retrieve it from water. All right. And, you can read, more of this, all right, in your own time. All right, it's WyattMuseum.com. All right, this is just one example published back in the 90s. All right, so we'll get rid of that. This is another, example. And basically, the reason why Esau has so-called refuted it or not acknowledged it is because, basically you had these Edomites saying that your time is off. All right, basically going into the fact that the time period that Esau was trying to push was inaccurate, and that's why it's not lining up, because the time period that you are saying it's supposed to have happened, it didn't happen. All right. Here's another article in 2007. All right. As discussed in the previous column, Nuweiba Beach is the most likely location where the Most High parted the Red Sea for the Israelites to escape the Egyptian army. Now, when it comes to the timelines, all right, locations, we take that with a grain of salt. All right, because ultimately, we understand Esau's technology isn't accurate. All right, but let's just get the point. Jumping down to the second paragraph. However, in 1970, before the Egyptian government prohibited the removal of artifacts, John Wyatt of Wyatt Archaeological Research conducted an expedition at that particular beach. Mr. Wyatt's undersea exploration revealed chariot boxes, wheels, and axles, as well as human and horse skeletal remains on the seafloor at Nuweiba Beach. An 8-spoke wheel hub Mr. Wyatt retrieved from the site was taken to the director of Egyptian Antiquities, Nassif Muhammad Hassan. After inspecting the wheel, Mr. Hassan declared that Mr. Wyatt's find was an authentic 8-spoke wheel only used during the 18th Egyptian dynasty, the dynasty that dated to the time of the Exodus. All right, and they reference this particular website, but it's not active because it's actually Wyatt Museum instead of Wyatt Archaeology. All right, and then more recently, you had a different archaeologist, all right, a few years later. His exploration in 1998 yielded a 4-spoke chariot wheel and dozens of human bones. One of the bones was submitted to Stockholm University for inspection, where it was determined to be a femur bone from the right leg of a man. Then in 2003, Pete Elmer from Kensheim, England, and his brother Mark conducted 2 diving expeditions at the same crossing, finding what they described as an underwater scrapyard that was most definitely the remains of the Egyptian army. All right, so plenty of historical, all right, historically documented evidence as well. All right, and let me go ahead and get the last one that I wanted to share. All right, where is it? Actually, 2 more, Salakia. All right, this is one of the articles, which referenced, all right, the first sighting of it. All right, that 4-spoke, gilded chariot. But what I really want to do was bring it over to here. All right, now this is from a website called Got Questions. All right, basically the question was, is there extra biblical evidence of the 10 plagues in Egypt? All right, so we're going to start with that. All right, and basically it's so beautiful because, as it reads, some critics of the Bible claim that there is no verifiable evidence to support the Bible's account of the exodus of the Hebrews from Egypt. They say that Egyptologists have found no record of the Hebrew people in Egypt or the 10 plagues as described. Christians accept that the Bible is the Most High inspired word of God, yada, 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 yada. All right, let's get to the point. So the Ipuwer Papyrus is an ancient document that provides a possible independent record of the 10 plagues in Egypt. It describes a great disaster that took place in Egypt. The oldest copy dates to around 1400 BC, placing it close to the time of the Exodus, circa 1446 BC. Again, we're not focusing on the timelines. All right. If you want to get deep and technical into it, but we already understand, man, with Esau, his timelines aren't always concrete. All right, we're just focusing on the meat of the matter. All right, this particular papyrus is the sole surviving manuscript of an ancient Egyptian poem officially designated as Papyrus Leiden I-344. The poem is known as the Admonitions of Ipuwer. All right, basically it's been in the Netherlands since 1828, whatever. So we're going to compare. We shall now compare the Bible's accounts of the plagues with the relevant parts of the Ipuwer papyrus. The first plague, turning the Nile to blood. The Nile River, which formed the basis of daily life and the national economy in Egypt, was devastated as millions of fish died and the water was unusable. All right, they reference Exodus 7:17. And then the papyrus says, plague is throughout the land, blood is everywhere. The river is blood. Men shrink from tasting, human beings in thirst after water. That is our water, that is our happiness. What shall we do in respect thereof? All is ruin. You see that? So that's right in line, man. All right in line with that first plague. All right, let's go to the 5th plague, the death of livestock. The Most High protected his people from this plague while the cattle of the Egyptians died. Yahweh was steadily destroying the economy of Egypt while showing his ability to protect and provide for those who obeyed him. Pharaoh even sent investigators, which, Esau, man, to find out if the Israelites were suffering along with the Egyptians. But the result was a hardening of his hearts against them. All right, and what does the papyrus say? All animals, their hearts weep, cattle moan. Behold, cattle are left astray, and there is none to gather them together. All right, let's go to the 7th plague. This hail was like any other that had been seen before, yada, yada, yada. Again, the children of Israel were miraculously protected, and no hail damaged anything in their lands. The papyrus says, forsooth, gates, columns, and walls are consumed by fire. Lower Egypt weeps. The entire place is without its revenues. To it belong by right wheat and barley, geese and fish. Forsooth, grain has perished on every side. Forsooth, that has perished, which was yesterday seen, the land is left over to its weariness like the cutting of flax. All right, two more. The ninth plague, for 3 days the land of Egypt was smothered in an unearthly darkness, but the homes of the Israelites had light. And the papyrus says the land is without light. You see? And it is very spiritual, man, because at the end of the day, again, these are just, spiritual examples, the fact that they line up, so seamlessly. All right. And the fact that, we're actually going to get into it. And it says it right here at the bottom. All right. There's a particular Egyptologist. All right. Not a believer, straight up heathen Edomite, that actually goes into. All right. And, he confirms, the accounts of Moses in Egypt. Now he doesn't believe in the miracles. All right. But that just, that shows the vanity of the wicked. Right. Because, if you confirm, the account that he lived, how can you not, confirm, or affirm, the miracles that occurred around that man's life. All right. Because the life of Moses, one of the main points when you think of Moses is the miracles, being a man of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and the miracles, that were done. All right. The 10th and last plague, the death of firstborn males. Every household that did not apply the blood of Passover sacrifice saw the death of the firstborn. And we're in the spirit of the Passover now. All right. You're coming up, approaching. All right. And look what it says, man. The Ippur papyrus says, forsooth, the children of princes are dashed against the walls. Forsooth, the children of princes are cast out in the streets. He who places his brother in the ground is everywhere. It is groaning throughout the land, mingled with lamentations. You see that? The papyrus also contains a possible reference to the Hebrews' departure from Egypt laden with treasures. All right. And it references Exodus, right where it goes into it, man. You see, gold and lapis lazuli, silver and malachite, carnelian and bronze are fastened on the neck of female slaves. All right. And this is directly from the papyrus itself. And then further, there is a possible description of the pillar of fire, the chariot. Behold, the fire has melted up on high. Its burning goes forth against the enemies of the land. You see, and because this was, an Egyptian papyrus. So, of course, it's going to say the burning goes forth against the enemies of the land, man. All right. Because what? It was leading us. All right. Last point, Egyptologist David Roll, who doesn't claim to be a Christian, has written 2 books on how biblical accounts relating to Egypt, Joseph, and Moses are astonishingly accurate. All right. A whole Egyptologist, man. So it don't take rocket science, It don't take rocket science, man. He believes Joseph and Moses were historic characters and cites Bronze Age slave lists containing Hebrew names, plague pits, so on and so forth. But, that's the point, man. There's so much more evidence. There's so much historical evidence, all right, that Esau has, all right, and, that he shrouds, and you couldn't find these sources, just simply, looking them up. All right. But basically because, these particular archaeologists, Egyptologists, other doctors, because they don't agree with the standard of what Esau and the elites have provided in regards to time frame and, all of that, they basically, make it void. All right. But there's plenty of evidence out there, man, so even if we, even if we didn't have this gift of faith, in regards to all of the beautiful works that Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has done, there's too much evidence, that's available, there's too much evidence where you could all you got to do is search it and you can see all of the evidence and how they have Egyptian documents. You got Egyptologists that write books about it, that aren't even believers, and they're able to, to clearly confirm, what Yahweh Bashem Yahushai has given unto us, and that's for us to see, what I'm saying? Like, these things are for us, for the believers. All right. This isn't for David Rawl and, whoever else, man. This isn't for them to, try to figure it out and increase their knowledge in Egyptology and archaeology. No, this is nothing for them, man. It's for the truth. All right. And we'll end it off there. Nothing against the truth. Oh, Slakia. Um, oh, I was thinking of strive for the truth unto death. But kind of let's end it off here. 2 Corinthians 13:8. This is actually what I really wanted anyway. For we can do nothing against the truth, but for the truth. All right. And ultimately, man, our elders already, grabbed a lot of the beautiful precepts, in regards to it. But I just wanted to bring, some historical evidence into it as well, man. Because we already have that gift of faith. We believe nonetheless, but it's beautiful to see the different accounts, of how you have these Edomites that, with their sciences and archaeology and all that, they even confirm it. They even can't deny it. You know what I'm saying? So Lord's will, you'll edify. In closing, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to our elders and apostles. Peace, love, and salutations to the house of David.